Warning, this podcast contains adult language and content, a lot of insults, and a little bit of going off topic, but it was also good. I had to keep all of it. But if you have kids with you, or if you are grandparents, we have thousands of podcasts at the Central Indiana Sports Report. You may want to go find another one. In fact, we just released our Major League Baseball season preview, and we previewed the Sweet 16 on the Purdue Report this week. And on Thursday, we have an IndyCar report with Elijah Poe previewing Alabama, and a Fever report with John Robertson and Michelle Garman. And I have a podcast every weekday called Greg and His Friends Talk Sports. Today's guests, Grant Shouse, Mike Hutsell, and Dave Chanley, are recurring guests on that one. You are listening to the NCAA Tournament Report with Grant Shouse, Mike Hutsell, and Dave Chanley, only on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Grant is going to be our host today for the Sweet 16 preview. Take it away, Grant.
Well, I guess we've narrowed the field down here to 16 teams, and I still feel like the field's as wide open as it has been in some years. I'm curious your guys' thoughts on with who's left here and some of the matchups we got going. Now that we've narrowed it down to 16 teams, out of the 16 teams, who do you think the best team left is?
I still think it's one of the Big 12 teams. I think Arizona is probably, to me, the best team left. Houston is still a dangerous team to me, and they're going to be playing 3 miles from campus over the next week because at the Houston Regionals. So I definitely think they're dangerous, and I really would have liked to have seen what Iowa State could have done if their best player hadn't gotten hurt. They're still good. They still played really, really well. I still think it's the Big 12, and then even with 6 teams in the tournament, I'm not quite ready to put the Big 10 there. I still think it's one of those 3 teams is still the best team left. Michigan is Michigan. They're deep. They're big. They played really, really well in their first 2 games. St. Louis was a little tougher matchup than I thought for at least the first half. I really, really feel like those 3 Big 12 teams to me are the cream of the crop, and I could end up being wrong, but that's been my thought about that conference since day one this year.
I felt that way about the last month, that those were the 3 teams. No chance Jefferson's playing?
It's a good question. Do you know, Mike?
I don't know anything. I mean, whenever I see them on the mobilized cart on Sunday, I have a really hard time thinking something miraculously is going to happen between Sunday, Thursday, Friday. If ankle injury is that severe that he's not putting any weight on it and he's in a boot, that's a big leap. So we'll see. I hope he's a quick healer. He's a heck of a player. He's fun to watch. The team's fun to watch. So I'd like to see them at their best because I really think that's a team that can win this thing. And I want to see all the best teams playing if I'm going to be watching this.
Absolutely.
The only other team I'd say is Duke, because they have Cam Boozer. Otherwise, I think you nailed it, Mike.
Well, I'll go out on a limb and say I really like Michigan because I think with Jefferson out, I think Michigan has the easiest path to get to the Final Four because I think they're much better than Bama. And I think Iowa State without Jefferson is reduced, and that means Michigan should come out of there. So from the standpoint of getting to the Final Four, I really like Michigan, and then they're going to be, I just like Michigan. Now, Arizona is really good. Yeah, boy. I go back to Iowa State without Jefferson. It's just reduced. So Houston, I know, is very good defensively, but you also have to score points. So, Mike, I'm with you. Arizona's going to be hard to beat,
Yes,
but I'm going to lean toward Michigan.
It feels to me, and I know he's a 4-letter word in the state in which we're recording this podcast. It feels to me like at some point Kelvin Sampson's going to do this. And I don't know that he's ever had a more talented team than the one he has right now. He's got the big man. He's got the experience. He's got the guys who played in the final game last year who are back. And then he added just two elite freshmen, NBA lottery level, Chris Sinak and Kingston Flemings, to go with that core that he had from last year. And just the draw being right there in front of them, playing at home. The best matchup in the Sweet 16 to me is their game against Illinois. Looks on paper like it could be the best of any team, any game in this round. But just having it pretty much right there on your home court, in your home city, and he's such a good coach. I hate saying that, but God,
Yes.
he's gonna win one eventually. And it just feels like maybe things are breaking this year, like it could be in that direction.
Speaking of good coaches, UConn, Michigan State, and Duke St. John's on Friday. Those are two really good games too.
There's no doubt. And I think that when the draw came out, those are definitely the region of coaches in terms of legendary status. Thing is with Duke, I was kind of, I guess the word's not concerned, but I was I was noticing after their struggle against Siena, against a 16 seed in the opening round, I thought, man, maybe they'll struggle with TCU. Maybe the wheels are kind of falling off the bus, but they used the TCU game as kind of a get right game. And I think are kind of refreshed and just a newer team now going into the Sweet 16. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think St. John's will actually beat them and advance to the Elite Eight. And I like the way Michigan State's playing right now. UConn kind of concerns me in a way. It's a little iffy where they let Furman hang around for about a half last week and then competed with UCLA for a while before blowing it open down the stretch. But I think you're going to be looking at St. John's or Michigan State in that Elite Eight to get to the Final Four out of the East region.
Rick Pitino, until they lost the year after the 2014 when Kentucky beat them in the Sweet 16, his record in the Sweet 16 is almost like Nick Saban on like opening weekend. Like if you give him that much time to prepare for a team, he is
So good.
next to unbeatable. And another guy that I just absolutely hate saying anything nice about. I'm not going to say anything nice about the guy. He's one of the most despicable human beings to ever walk. If you could,
he is a tremendous basketball coach. Hey, Mike, I am with you. I would not hire the man because I think there has to be some moral justification in your hires. But he can coach basketball but I look at all the coaches and there are some great ones in this in this 16. But he is the master of coaching. He's just phenomenal.
That section of the tournament definitely right now looks like 3 Hall of Fame coaches and John Shire to me. So
absolutely.
Pitino against Shire that's a really interesting matchup because Shire is the hot shot. He's been to the Final Four twice. He's always got the top recruiting class coming in. He was handpicked by Kay for that job, but it's Rick Pitino, man. He's going up against, like we said, possibly the best that's ever done this. How many schools now has he taken to the Sweet 16? Was it 4 or 5? I remember 5. So he's at 5 schools in the Sweet 16 trying to get another one to the Final Four. I mean, it's absurd what the guy has done and what he's capable of doing. And you give him that much time and Duke not having their point guard. We keep coming back to injuries in this thing. Caleb Foster being out. You don't want to not have a point guard against a Rick Pitino team. That seems like a really dangerous proposition to walk into.
Yeah, but I'm not sure the Johnnies can score enough. The last week, they won that game entirely with their defense against Kansas. You still have to be able to score, and I'm not sure they can shoot it well enough. Shire's good, too, by the way. But I'm also going to say, as great as the coaches are, it's still about the Jimmies and the Joes. It's still about the personnel.
Can I say that Duke has looked downright not good at times? Like, not good.
I agree with you, Greg. It took them that long to get it figured out against Siena, where Siena, I mean, still, even though they struggled late down the stretch in the second half, had a legitimate shot to win that game last week. and one of the greatest upsets in the history of the tournament.
And McNamara went iron 5 in that game. They were like on fumes at the end of that game. If he had used his bench at all when they had the lead, maybe they don't fade down the stretch as much as they did. But that's the TCU game. You called that a get right game, Grant. That game was a lot closer than you probably realized by the final score.
That's what I was going to say.
TCU led. Did they do a half, Greg? I know they led pretty well into the second half at one point, but the Ted Valentine Memorial referee, Hall of Fame referee Ted Valentine and his boys dragged those Blue Devils across the finish line, get them into the Sweet 16 for the network execs, and now we've got a great storyline matchup going into the next round.
Got a question for all of you. Okay, now we've been picking with our heads here. Let's pick with our heart. Tell me what you think picking with your heart instead of your head.
Well, I know what Greg's going to say. There's 15 teams I'd love to see win this thing.
Me too.
And I'm an IU grad too, but I would like to see Purdue win the thing. I really would.
Dave.
Wow.
Okay, look, you've got a local connection, a kid that you...
Yeah.
I don't know if you may have taught. I know a kid that you've probably known for a long time at Silver Creek is a starter and a 5-year player at Purdue at this point. So I'll give you that, but come on, man. Come on, Dave.
Not just with that, though. I think Matt Painter, I like Matt Painter. I think he's a heck of a coach, and he's a class act. I do a lot of the picking. I am probably against more teams in this 16 than I'm for.
Amen, brother. I was going to ask this question, and I think I've asked it before, but do you guys cheer for the Big Ten in the tournament? Because I don't.
I don't understand that. That's an SEC thing. I don't get it. I don't get conference pride.
I think I go more with the coach as a class act more than anything, and I like Hoiberg. I think he's not only a really good coach, but he's a class act as well.
How do we feel about Ben McCollum?
Ben McCollum was headed to Iowa regardless. We would not have gotten him.
I tend to agree with you, Dave, on that sentiment, but there's a lot of people out there saying, well, that's who Indiana should have went with. And I'm impressed by what he's done. Don't get me wrong, but how's it going to look if he doesn't have a bunch of guys that have followed him around for the last 4 or 5 years? When he's got to go out and recruit a whole team that isn't guys that just were brought in by him, handpicked by him, and have followed him everywhere, is it going to look the same? And also, let's not forget the fact, I think it's just, I don't know how it's been swept under the rug. They're only here because they just ignored a guy punching another guy. I'm appalled by this. That guy should have been kicked out of the game at the first TV timeout, and he hits the game-winning shot, and nobody seems to freaking care. Why am I alone in this?
Mike, he definitely threw a punch and should have been thrown out of the game. So
it wasn't even up for debate. Like, the guys on the broadcast were like, oh, Fulgaris is gone. There's no way he's in the game. And they come back from the timeout.
I don't know how you missed that if you're an official.
Well, the explanation to Golden was he didn't connect, so we didn't kick him out. Oh, okay. Well, just Chuck Norris roundhouse kick somebody, and just just try not to hit him too hard. Maybe you'll only get a flagrant one.
And he was just paying homage and his respect to Chuck Norris.
I will say this as far as Golden. With 8.5 seconds or whatever it was, he could not have set up Iowa any better than he did with the defense he threw out there full court.
It was horrible.
It was absolutely, they did everything wrong that they could possibly do, and that's why the kid was wide open for the three.
In his defense, he probably thought there's no way in hell the guy that hauled off and tried to punch my dude is still in the game, so we're not even going to guard that guy, but he was still in the game.
I thought, Mike, when you said, speaking of guys you thought going to be an IU coach, I thought you were going to say Dusty May. If they would have pulled the trigger a year early on Woodson, they could have had Dusty May.
That's another thing that's out there that, like, I think people think that's automatic, that he would have automatically accepted it. But if you read or hear things about Dusty May, he might not have wanted the fishbowl that is Bloomington. Like, he seems to just, I mean, he was in Boca coaching for years, just in paradise. Now he goes to Michigan. He's the second show, regardless of what happens. He's the number 2. And he seems to just enjoy, he's a laid back, like, not overbearing personality. He might not have wanted it. I know he's an IU grad. I know he was a manager for Knight, and it was such an automatic, everybody just assumed. But
I'm with you, Mike.
I think personality-wise, he might not. If he wanted Indiana, he might have stayed in Boca for another year, but he went to Michigan, and he's in a great place, and good for him. I mean, good on Michigan for being smart enough to hire him. But I don't know for certain that he was an automatic choice for Indiana because of him and his personality.
Mike, I agree with you on Dusty May. There was no guarantee we would get him, even if we'd had pulled the trigger a year early. I think that is part of our fan arrogance. Every school has a group of fans that absolutely believe, okay, I can go out here. Let's fire a coach because we can get whoever we want. And that's not the case. It doesn't work that way.
And just looking at more recent hires, it's not automatic anymore. Like, Kentucky was going to get anybody, whoever they wanted. Kentucky was going to get. No, they got Mark Pope, who, nice guy, hot daughters.
Yes.
Not a great basketball coach. Louisville. Oh, we're getting Bruce Pearl, man. We're getting Scott Drew. We're getting Dusty May. We're getting all these guys. No, they got the College of Charleston head coach. And
speaking of College of Charleston head coach, it just flashed across my screen that Chris Mack will take the South Florida job.
Good for him.
That's an interesting hire.
I think that's a slam dunk.
Kind of forgot about him.
How can you forget about old Chris Mack? But Duke hired an internal guy. Florida hired the coach at South. They had 2 titles with Billy Donovan. They hired the coach at San Francisco. It turned out he was pretty damn good. Does a great job. But it's no longer just, that we're going to fire. The only situation where you can say they definitely upgraded was Arkansas. That was a really weird happenstance occurrence there, that they were able to pull a Hall of Fame coach out of the top job maybe in the country because the fan base was turning on him and he just wanted out and got a lot of money to do it. So,
and see, I know you guys don't like Calipari, but I can't stand Kentucky fans. And so to see Calipari have success at Arkansas and now take them to the Sweet 16 for back-to-back seasons gives me nothing but joy, knowing that Kentucky fans are sitting at home not watching their team compete in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Awesome.
Which brings up a question. In Arkansas, with that point guard they have, can they pull off an upset and beat Arizona?
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. He is good, man. And Arizona's strength every year is with this team is their front court, how big they are. And I don't know that athletically they're going to overwhelm Arkansas because they've got Calipari always has dudes, and he's got dudes again this year. So it's not going to stun me if they pull it off. Do I think Arizona wins? Yes. Am I going to sit here and say, oh my God, that's the upset of the tournament if it happens? Absolutely not.
I think that Arkansas certainly is capable, like you just said, because you give Calipari enough time to prepare for a team like Arizona, he'll have them ready to go. And they have NBA level talent on that team. They know how to win. Their staff knows how to win, other than maybe Kenny Payne. Again, kind of like you just said, Mike, kind of to echo you in a way. I like Arkansas's chances in that game. I won't care what happens in it as long as Purdue loses to Texas. if I had to choose, I kind of want Arizona to win because I think they can beat Purdue. I think Purdue can beat Arkansas. So I'll be rooting for Arizona, but I wouldn't be shocked if Arkansas pulled off the mild upset.
How come Sean Miller couldn't teach his brother a little bit about X's and O's?
Great question. But Sean Miller is equally as bad of a dude as Archie was.
Maybe worse of a dude.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Talk about another sleaze bag in college basketball.
This is definitely, if you rank your coaches 1 through 16 in this, who's getting 16, man? It's a tough list. You've got Patino, Sampson.
In terms of what, likability?
No, dislikability. All right,
likability. There's
you
a
guys,
lot.
you guys
There's
listen. I'm gonna sit here and let you guys. I'll put myself on mute, and you can talk about Matt Painter and how good his farts smell for 5 minutes because I know that's what you guys like to do. But I mean, okay, so we'll give you guys Matt Painter's the greatest thing that's ever happened, and he's number one.
I was gonna say Izzo for number one.
To me, it would be Dusty, but that's because.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Dusty.
So you've got Painter, you've got Dusty. He seems like a good dude.
Fred Hoiberg.
Hoiberg, okay. Dave likes Hoiberg.
I've got an absurd take I want to add here. In my top 5, at least, of likable coaches, you guys are not going to believe me, but no question, Dan Hurley's in my top 5.
Oh,
by
likable?
Far, no question. Yes, by far one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met. No, I'm guys.
You're doing a great job here, Grant. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
I like Dan Hurley. He reminds me a lot of Knight.
Okay, so
well, there you go.
We did top 3. We got Painter, we've got May, we've got Hoiberg. I'd say probably Rick Barnes at 4.
Not bad. He's okay.
TJO, I have zero reason not to like TJO at 5. Then, my God, you talk about the scumbag list. Rick Pitino, John Shire. We'll go Shire at 6.
McCollum has not done anything to turn me off as a person yet. So I'll vote him. Yeah.
McCollum, I think people give him a lot of credit for inventing the game of basketball because he was good in Division II. So you guys can have your McCollum. But, God, you've got Izzo, and we've got his history with just not being good, having good people in his program. And you've got Patino, and you've got Sampson, and you've got Hurley, and you've got, you got Sean Miller.
Did you say notes yet, Mike?
NATO, you left out. Oh my!
Yeah. We got a guy who covered for a murderer, perhaps, in here,
and I'll throw Underwood under the bus as well.
Underwood he's like camouflaged by all the other shit around him. People don't really understand. He's not that bad when you can. It's like when Louisville had Petrino and Patino and Jurich together. Who was the least big piece of shit in that group?
Wow.
What about Tommy Lloyd? Where you putting Tommy Lloyd at Arizona?
Tommy Lloyd's fine. He seems like a likable dude.
He seems I'm fine with him. He hadn't done anything to turn me off.
He's just getting his resume shined up for that Carolina job here in a couple of weeks.
Can I throw a historic nod for most unlikable in history to Joe B. Hall? The most unlikable coach in the history of college sports.
Don't you remember our conversation about what the statue of Joe B. Hall was, Greg?
Of course. An ATM machine.
It was an ATM machine.
I'm not sure. We're going to get some listeners. Greg, you might get some feedback on this one because there's going to be some people saying, wait a minute, you're stepping on my toes here.
Yeah, and we don't care. I'm sitting here taking stuff about Purdue, Grant. The listeners can take it too.
Yeah, we've been really mean to Purdue on this podcast.
Well,
I roll.
That's all right.
I roll.
You've been a jerk since the 1932 championship.
Didn't
happen.
Even happen. Iowa State's last Final Four was like 1934, so they didn't even win. Purdue and Iowa State would be a hell of a matchup because they could compare things that never actually happened.
My favorite game of let's try and figure out what Matt Painter's big life lesson this weekend is going to be if they get beat in one of these two games.
Oh, well, he's already taught us about mid-major scheduling. Thank God. I would have never lived without that lecture. What else did he teach us about last week? The sermon after every game from St. Matthew of West Lafayette, man. Maybe this week we'll get like in the NIL era, we don't even worry about money. We're just so pure. We do it for the name on the front of the jersey. We're basketball. We are what basketball is actually about. Oh my goodness, guys. I can't believe how awesome we actually are. And when we lose to an 11 seed in the Sweet 16, it's okay because we did it the right way. I'm like chat GPTing what Matt Painter's going to say right now. So the life lessons we're about to learn when Matt loses to another double-digit seed in the Sweet 16 that's the actual friends we make along the way. It's not the game itself. It's what we learn from Matt Painter in the process of this happening. Thank God Matt Painter is in our lives. I am just a better person right now because I'm talking about Matt Painter. Like the mirror, just I've lost 37 pounds looking in the mirror. I look like Ryan Gosling in the mirror right now just because I'm thinking about Matt Painter. That's how awesome a man he is.
Oh my word. This is
the weirdest Sweet 16 preview pod you're ever going to listen to.
Wow.
Are we picking a Final Four on this Sweet 16 preview?
Can we pick a Final Four? Dave?
Okay, my heart's with Purdue, but I'm going with Arizona. I am going with a ultimate upset here with Nebraska out of the South.
Whoa.
I'm going with Michigan from the Midwest, and I hate it, but I'm going to go with Duke from the East.
Mike?
I will go. I'm changing my national champion pick. I'm taking Iowa State off the board. I hate it. I really, really like that team, and I wanted to see them do it. But I'm going to go Michigan. I'm going to pick Purdue. I think Arizona's going to lose. They haven't blown me away. They didn't blow me away in the Utah State game. I'm sticking with Michigan State, and I'm 3 of the 4 teams from the Big Ten at this point, and I've got to go with Houston. And my national champ at this point is going to be Houston.
Mike, I'm going to stick with Iowa State to the Final Four, but I picked Iowa State coming into the tournament as well, and I think it's now going to be Arizona, Iowa State, Houston, and at this point, I think it's going to be Michigan State.
I'm going to take Michigan State in the East, Houston out of the South, Michigan out of the Midwest, and Purdue out of the West region.
That jinx is not going to work, guys.
Give me Houston taking down Purdue in the national championship in Indianapolis on Monday, April 6th.
The IU podcast is the same Final Four and same national championship, both of us together.
I think, Mike, you and I originally probably had the same Final Four.
It's likely.
Iowa State, Houston, Arizona, Duke is what I had.
No, I admit I've had Michigan State since it started.
So we were really close at the beginning. I just thought those were the best 3 teams in the country.
And it just seems like every year the tournaments in Indy that Michigan State is somehow in the Final Four.
That's right.
Duke. Michigan State and Duke.
Michigan State and Duke, yeah.
Yeah, they live in Indianapolis. That's true.
I think it'll be one of them. I don't think UConn.
We're sticking with no Big Ten national champions this year, though.
Yes.
I think so.
We're going on another year of it. If it not this year, when?
I genuinely don't know.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, those 3 teams from the Big 12 are just too good, I think.
Hey, before we wrap up, we talked a little bit about it. Thoughts on Carolina and potentially Kansas opening up?
I don't think Kansas will open, but I'll be interested to see what North Carolina wants to do. I really don't know what direction they'll want to go.
Grant, I think that accidentally leaked out early. I think he's leaving.
The signs were all there over the course of the season. He missed games. It was a tough season overall, I feel like, for them with the Peterson and saga. I think it's a lot of stress for a guy with a heart condition that's probably not – he's got to take care of himself, and I'm not going to blame him if he walks away from it. 2 national titles, how many Final Fours, a lot of weird losses in the tournament. But we talk about blue bloods and hiring. If those 2 jobs open up, I really want to see who they're able to pull, because those are 2 of the top 5 jobs in the country.
Have I told you guys my Bill Self story? So 2 years ago, when EYBL, which is like the top AAU tournament in the country, came to Indy, and it's a who's who of college coaches that are there. This is going to sound weird, but it's almost like a petting zoo where you can just go up and talk to them whenever you want. And so that's what I did. And I kind of eased my way over to where Bill Self was, and he was talking with some guy, and I was eavesdropping, and I wasn't trying to hide it. And I asked him, I go, is dealing with all of the NIL and the distractions, that kind of stuff, is that a challenge for you in college basketball? And he starts laughing. He goes, no, it's not a challenge at all, actually. I think we really handle it well. And he starts laughing. And I'm just like, okay, I was confused. And then he looks at me and he grabs my arm and he like pulls me to him, and he looks at me and he goes, I'm just fucking with you, man. I'm just fucking with you. And starts laughing.
Oh, boy.
That's a genuine moment.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's to make you like him a little bit.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious looking back.
Self was the coach at Illinois. They came to Assembly Hall. They were ranked number 1. This was when Davis was there. Indiana comes out and hits like 24 threes in the game and blows them out, like almost 30-point ball game. And one of my friends was a manager at IU at the time, and he walks the other team's coach off the court. And he said Bill Self just looked at him and says, God, you guys just kicked our ass. Yeah. I've heard nothing but just kind of fun stories when it comes to Bill Self, and he does seem like a guy who could probably put some beers down at a Hooters on a Friday night.
Oh, no question. Actually, when you go back and look at him, the amount of weight he's lost since they won the national championship, and I know he had to because of the health problems he's had, but he almost looks like a different guy. Like he
really
lost
does.
a ton of weight.
What if Michigan State would win and Izzo would retire?
Not happening.
Interesting.
I got another hypothetical that might not be, it seems crazy, but Carolina's open, Kansas is open. The Chicago Bulls lose Billy Donovan. Mm-hmm. John Shire gets a phone call from the Chicago Bulls. He's an Illinois guy. He's a Chicago kid, area kid. He leaves Duke. You could have Duke, Carolina, and Kansas open.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Billy Donovan to Carolina.
And what if the Lord and Savior decides he needs some time off, and Matt Painter ascends to heaven and takes over his rightful job as God?
Mike, you just start. Man, you're just too hard on this guy. Give him a break.
We're so blessed. It's almost Easter. I'm going to go and be thankful for Matt Painter.
We still haven't talked about who's going to take the jobs at Kansas and North Carolina.
I still say Iowa State to North Carolina.
I say TJO to Kansas, and I think Tommy Lloyd is going to be the front runner at Carolina, but don't write off a guy that I just mentioned by the name of Billy Donovan.
I'm going to go ahead, and I'm just throwing it out there. Not that I really think it's going to happen. Golden to North Carolina, Lloyd to Kansas.
Yeah, John Calipari to Kansas. That's what I like that one.
You think?
No, but
No.
it'll be fun.
No.
That's an
no
Adidas
way.
school. He would never. That's an Adidas school, man. Carolina for Calipari is much more feasible than Kansas. He's not leaving that swoosh.
I don't think anyone really wants him anymore. Don't get me wrong. The Blue Bloods. I'm saying there are a lot of schools who would want him. Don't get me wrong.
NC State also opening up because it looks like Will Wade is just going to pretend the whole thing never happened and head back to LSU. So another Tobacco Road job opening up.
Calipari to
There's
NC
another
State.
scumbag.
Yeah, I was going to say. And the theme of the podcast being scumbags, let's leave it on Will Wade going back to LSU to hang out at the sorority house with Lane Kiffin.
Oh, man. I didn't even think about that combination.
Oh, my word.
Oh, there's trouble in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Livy Dunn got out of town just in time. That's all I can say.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. That's all I can say.
This was
Wow.
fun. To those of you who hung on through the end, congratulations. You got a good one. That was fun. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. And I love Susie.